The Scold's Bridle, the iron cage that silenced women. It looked almost like armor, forged iron, shaped to fit a human head, but it was never meant for protection. It was meant for silence. The Scold's Bridle, also known as the brank or tongue break, was one of the cruelest punishments in early modern Europe. From the 1500s to the 1700s, it spread across England and Scotland. An iron mask designed to control words, thoughts, and defiance itself. Stories like this remind us why history matters. So if you value the truth behind the darkness, like and subscribe to Yahweh Stories 144. Because these voices deserve to be heard again. The device was a cage of iron bars that enclosed the head. Inside, a flat piece of metal, sometimes spiked, was pushed into the mouth to hold the tongue down. If the wearer tried to speak, the metal dug deeper, cutting flesh, drawing blood, and making even a whisper unbearable. The pain wasn't only physical, it was psychological. You were trapped inside your own silence. Officials would lock the bridle in place with a padlock, sometimes adding small bells that jingled with every step. The sound wasn't decoration, it was humiliation. The bells announced the victim's shame before they even appeared. Townspeople would gather to point, laugh, and jeer as the wearer was paraded through the streets, a living warning of what happened to those who talked too much. Most of the victims were women. In the patriarchal courts of the 16th and 17th centuries, the term scold was used broadly. A wife who argued, a woman who gossiped, or even one who dared to question her husband or a local official. It didn't take much. A sharp word in church, a dispute at the market, or simply being too outspoken could earn a woman the bridle. In towns like Newcastle, Edinburgh, and Lancaster, these devices were kept near the stocks, ready for public punishment. Women were forced to wear them for hours, some tied to posts, others marched through muddy streets, as crowds mocked them. The goal wasn't just silence, it was control. The Scold's Bridle turned speech itself into a crime and shame into a spectacle. Occasionally men wore it too, usually those accused of political slander or religious dissent. But the majority were women, punished not for lies or treason, but for being heard. The message was simple. In a world built to obey male authority, a woman's voice could be treated as a weapon. By the 1700s, the device began to fade from daily use. The Enlightenment slowly changed views on punishment and justice, pushing back against the barbarity of public humiliation. Yet the bridles remained, rusting in town halls, later moved to museums, each one a reminder of what silence once cost. Some of these relics still survive today. Their shapes vary, some plain, others adorned with grotesque masks or devilish faces meant to amplify ridicule. A few still carry their tiny iron bells, now frozen in place, their chime long gone. But standing before one, you can almost hear the echoes of the street, the metallic jingle of shame, the laughter of the crowd, and the muffled sobs of someone who could no longer speak. Historians describe the Scold's Bridle not just as torture, but as a tool of obedience, punishment crafted into performance. The spectacle wasn't about one woman's silence, it was about reminding every woman watching what could happen if she spoke too loudly. And that's why these stories matter today, because when societies decide who gets to speak and who must stay silent, history begins to repeat itself. Whether through laws, ridicule, or fear, the echo of the bridle still lingers, only now it hides behind modern masks. It's easy to think we've come far from those iron cages, but control often evolves. It doesn't vanish. The Scold's Bridle may have rusted away, yet the urge to silence remains alive in subtler forms. Every time someone is mocked, censored, or dismissed for speaking, that iron jingle rings again in history's memory. And maybe that's the real warning it left us. Because the moment we stop listening to uncomfortable voices, we start building cages of our own. So remember this story, not just as a horror of the past, but as a mirror of power, fear, and silence. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told before they're forgotten, then like and subscribe to Yahweh Stories 4F4.